So the goddess of conception meets the goddess of god of children here in your sign. Is especially true for the rising sign Leos, secondarily for the moon sign, because moon is parenting, and maybe least likely for the Leo sun. But pay attention because you're going into a fertility year. I don't mean just while Venus is here. Yes, it's more fertile before she leaves here on July the 9th. So watch out, right? The first 9 days for getting pregnant. Lunatic astrology. Hello there, Leo, sun, moon, and rising. This is July 2026, and this is your astrology forecast. We are having a month in which Jupiter is about to enter into your sign. Yes, you heard me right. You're going to expect this to feel good on you, and you're probably going to enjoy a greater sense of abundance, joy, and prosperity, not just in the month of July, but for an entire year. And there's a special way in which when he first enters your sign, speaks to me strongly of fertility. I mean creative fertility, but procreative as well. You're going to notice that Mars is doing a lot of stuff in the sky that looks a little bit different. One is bending the nodes of fate, but also he's going to be changing signs into the sign of Gemini. This is going to have a major impact in some decisions you're making around career, gains in your career and friendship groups. And on top of that, Mercury's retrograde, holy man, for the first 3 weeks, and Saturn ends up retrograde at the end of the month. It's a humdinger. The most important thing about this month for all of us is the Barbeau basket. In the second half of the month, we're going to see a basket forming in the sky that is extremely thousands of years old and rare. It's such a strange configuration because it's going to be about a whole energetic shift that the world will feel, but you'll feel it in 4 parts of your life, in 4 parts of your sky. We'll talk about that too. Already, I get your feeling. There's a lot to talk about this month. There sure is. I didn't even bring up the 2 lunations yet. One connected to an eclipse that happened last spring, this spring behind us. So I'm trying to be a lioness just for you guys. I got some blow-dried hair, and I got some big bobblies on my ears, and I've got this dress, and I'm doing you. I'm doing the lioness or lion on behalf of the Leos. All right, welcome to my channel. This is the Lunatic Astrology, Lori Lothian here. This is Western Tropical Zodiac, not sidereal or Vedic. We're talking today about your sun sign, moon sign, and rising. Rising sign, simulation, avatar, moon sign, your how you feel and think, and your sun sign is your true self, and it can be about career and purpose. I try to explain this in every video. Certainly, for sure, listen for your rising sign. Don't know what your rising sign is? Learn how to cast your chart in whole sign houses. Cast your rising sign below in my description box, my free tutorial. All right, guys, it's like the first thing I want to say before we talk about the month ahead, I keep forgetting to mention this in my videos. Sky Reader, my class that I teach every September, 7th year now in a row, it'll be this fall, is coming up. And if you want to join in to learn to time your best life, be your own astrologer, learn to read the sky read, learn to understand your natal chart and how to make predictions and forecasts based on 2 super simple timing tools. This is an intro level course to astrology. This is not for intermediate students. If you want to learn the basics of astrology and begin to time your best life yourself, come join me in Sky Reader, Q&As weekly, Facebook group and Discord group for meeting other students, teaching assistants helping me, 4 guest teachers teaching extra bonus classes for free, plus me right there with you, helping you learn. So if that's appealing to you, this deep discount code will end at the end of July. This is for the early bird, super early bird, right? In August, the cart will still be open, but the early bird discount, deep dive discount will not be there. So in the description box under the video, and I'll try to pin it to the comments, you're going to find information about either getting on the early bird wait list or by the time you watch this, enrolling in the class this September. Add 7 weeks, 7 weeks long. Zoom live. All right. I'm a little delirious. I'm recording a lot of videos in a short time. So if I seem like I'm delirious, that's because I might be, but I've got you here. I really do. I'm not going to screw you up. So we're going to show you the chart. And don't forget, when you like, when you subscribe, when you're notified, hit the bell for notifications. It tells YouTube that you like me, and then it wants to see if other people like me. And then I get more sharing of abroad to other channels, and it helps the channel grow. So this is Leo, sun, moon, and rising. We act as if your sun is here or your moon is here. Jupiter enters your sign. This is the ascendant for rising. Jupiter enters your sign. He's going to do that on June 30th. He's not leaving for a whole year. It means that you are going to be lucky, expansive, growth-oriented, magnanimous, generous, wealthy, possibly pregnant. Jupiter alone can bring pregnancy for a female when he's in the first house. and a female egg bearer. And I'm sort of facetious there. And he also is being met by Miss Sperm and Ovum Venus. So the goddess of conception meets the goddess of god of children here in your sign. Is especially true for the rising sign Leos, secondarily for the moon sign, because moon is parenting, and maybe least likely for the Leo sun. But pay attention, because you're going into a fertility year. I don't mean just while Venus is here. Yes, it's more fertile before she leaves here on July the 9th. So watch out, right? The first 9 days for getting pregnant. But it's okay, because it bakes in her signature energy for the year, because upon his ingress, she is present. So it's now a kind of election chart. So this can bring a lot of fertility for you guys. And now, if you don't want to make babies, okay, you can make other things. You can make artistic projects, creativity here in the muse-driven house, entrepreneurial business endeavors in your 5th house, trining your 5th house, ruled and owned by Jupiter himself. And this is very positive energy that also will bless your siblings in your life. They'll get collateral benefits. It could even indicate siblings in pregnancy for you Leonine folk. And it can also kind of collaterally flow or benefit your chunky money, as well as your career. There's multiple ways this combination spins out. But all said and done, it is a feeling of you feeling on top of the world. And so if you've been feeling difficult energies before the June 30th transition of Jupiter, because he's been hiding in your 12th house, making you do your soul work, like it or not, or alone time felt good, now he's giving you a big boost. And anything you want to focus on, career, marriage, home, rental properties, money, everything you try to do, he's there to support you. Now, and protect your physical body for the ascendants, really help you with your health. So that's a story. Mars is changing signs, as I mentioned. He's going to enter into your 11th house of good spirit. This is basically the overview before we break it down week by week. Good spirit Mars, but surprise, he's crashing into Uranus. We'll break that down in the first week while he bends the nodal axis. Eek! But having Mars in Gemini, which is kind of fun, if not, because Mars can be about the choice point in our life, and there's a fickle on and off Jekyll Hyde quality to mutable Gemini. So you might be changing your choices and not sure which way you want to go when it comes to career, and when it comes to your long range goals and plans and dreams, and when it comes to your relationship to your social groups, and this back and forth energy, or to your sibling one older. This kind of fickle choice point energy is in your sky June 28th to August 11th, June 28th to August 11th. So there's just that vibe. And we're going to talk about that first week, which is game changing. We also have the energy here for you in the month of July of Mercury retrograding for 3 weeks, all the way to July 23rd. That retrograde started back on the 29th of June. It continues to July 23rd. This is where you should be cautious of making any major decisions or whatever you would do here. Mercury retrograde means you will make a decision and change your mind often. And he's retrograding in the 12th house. So the 12th house is like, you might be trying to figure out, should I take that trip? Mercury protects travelers on the road. Should I take that pilgrimage, that trip to the ashram? Should I make that foreign land journey? Is it worth my time and energy? Do I want to make changes in how I make money for digital income and borderless revenue? Who owns your money house? Do I want to shift my gears regarding my career goals, gains, and dreams for my life? And all the decisions he can make while he's huddled in the 12th house are circumspect and likely to change after July 23rd when he goes direct. So just let yourself sit with the unknown and don't make those major choices quite yet. That's my guidance for you. At the end of the month, around the 26th or so of the month, Saturn will turn retrograde. I'm going to cover that in a much more in-depth video, but you might go back to a place you've been before internationally. You might, things might feel easier when it comes to court battles and legal matters. And this is up here, Saturn retrograding at the end of the month for 4 months, by the way, or 3.5 months or so in your 9th house. We're going to cover that retrograde Saturn at the end of the month of, closer to the end of the month of July. If you want to get that information for your sign, please do make sure that you like and subscribe. All right, so let's get started. The beginning of the month, we have a new story. Chiron has entered at the third week of June into a part of your sky. Right up here is the 10th house of career and reputation. Upside, you could become a healer, mentor, guide, or teacher. You might change professions over the next 7 years. He's testing the earth waters here, testing the earth here until September 17th. So you may be considered career changes that are chironic. You might want to go into a medical profession, for example, or healing profession, or mentoring, guiding, or teaching profession. These are chironic words, a shamanic profession. But in the meantime, he also wounds you in your reputation space. He wounds you in your feeling like you're on key to purpose, that you're targeting purpose properly in your life, that you're meaningfully contributing to the world. And because of that idea, you're sort of feeling maybe this summer, right? Chiron's up here through to September 17th. Like, oh my God, my work doesn't feel aligned right now. Something's wrong with the way I'm doing it. All right. So, but the beginning of the month on July 1st, Jupiter squares Chiron. Jupiter square Chiron is a truth moment. A truth bomb hits you about the wounds you're experiencing to your reputation and career, including wounds that might be about your marriage partnership as well, because of the angularity. And you suddenly realize the wound of the person you're with. Like you are like, oh my God, is this my person? Or do I feel like an outcast somehow in my marriage? Or do I feel like an outcast in my work life? Do I feel like a misfit? There's weird truth bombs landing on your doorstep around July the 1st. Add a couple of days to either side. Well, let's just say July the 1st and 2nd, June 30th to July the 2nd, truth bombs, misfit, wound, calibrate, marriage and career path stories. Then we're going to talk, and it'll be back again later in the month through the solar activity. So I'll tell you about that later. This is just your first touch point with this wound. And then on July the 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, 6th, Mars is going to be in a square to the nodes of fate. Well, he is conjunct Uranus, but at the same time trining Pluto and Neptune. It's a mixed bag. So let's talk about the mixed bag. So Mars is going to be barreling into Uranus. You're feeling it on July 1st. It's pretty exact on the 3rd and 4th. Happy July 4th weekend. USA's birthday chart is gnarly. This energy comes into a kind of climactic shock or surprise that it's destined and fated. It may involve money for you and career matters. The gains of the career financially, 11. The earnings, the 2nd house, and the chunks of money, the 8th. This can be many different things. You may be asked to step away from your job. They're closing out your position. The division is shutting down. You're quitting your job and you're shocked that you just quit. I'm not sure what it will be, but there's pivots in work and career, and money matters. Absolutely see that for sure. The other element, you're divinely protected by both Jupiter and Venus, and everything will always work out. Even if it falls apart, it will come back together even better. Trust the process. The North Node is being bent by Mars. There may be an inbound chunk of money coming your way with Sun in the 12th house. And Jupiter benefiting you in all things right now. You could come into a chunk of money, like an unexpected, surprising windfall. It could even activate the house of lottery wins or unexpected money that feels like you just won the lottery. So there's that nice vibe too. That's coming as well as this critical juncture turning point that could impact career. You'll notice that he's also in a beautiful flow to Pluto and a beautiful flow to Neptune as he co-joins Uranus. So this energy is intensely positive. And there's something dreamy and wonderful on the side here, a little side sandwich of yummy, a little side appetizer of some powerful transformation and rebirth in your long-term committed love relationship in a surprising, life-pivoting way. It may connect you to your dream outcomes to do with weddings or marriages, or could even be something to do about a pivotal turning point in a relationship that involves distant shores and far off lands and foreign people and foreign places. It's not really a signature for starting a long-term committed love. It's something is happening in a long-term committed love relationship or business partnership that's positive, even while the gears grind on destined money changes connected most likely to your career. When this fate shock and awe story is over, and if I was to keep it simple, breaking up with a friend, okay, having an ending, a fallout, a flashpoint with a friend, right? Friends belong up here. Quitting, ending, and severing and flashing unexpectedly out of a group that you belong to. I no longer associate or affiliate with this group of people, this network. A sudden flashpoint of change, maybe breaking free and through in the money story for you, but it would come as a chunk of money, not as a paycheck. And that story then leads itself to the next one, which is always the way the sky works. On July the 6th, in that first week of July, the Sun and Saturn give you a day of difficulty. Well, to me, the Sun and Saturn in a square is like one day in which something hard is happening. It's likely the 6th, but give it the 5th, 6th, 7th. There may be a difficult circumstance connected to a light that's shining in your house of addiction, self-undoing, bad habits, in the house of your private and alone time, and maybe connected to your legal matters. The Sun is the exaltation lord of your court case matters, legal matters, visas, passports, travel. Both houses can involve distant shores and far off places that can be foreign. There may be some light shining on a contraction or a delay or a halting of a travel plan that you had put into motion. And you're going, I'm not sure if that is going to work. Okay. Mercury retrograde even says you might be going back on a travel plan and kiboshing it or changing your mind about it in some way. What could get in the way of that is work obligations, for example, under the sky as one metric only. Okay. Moving into the next story, we could move past the solar square and we could talk about your trine from Venus to Chiron. That's the same wound that you felt on July 1st. Now Venus is trying to mop it up, but there's a bigger story. Venus on July the 9th will transit out of the sign of Leo. Now she likes Leo. She's a queenly queen there. She's been in your sign for quite a while. You might want to go back and think about how it felt when she entered here on June 13th. And now she's leaving here on July the 9th, because you would have felt more optimistic and attractive and positive. You might have got the best haircut of your life. My Leo's sister did that. You might end up with a nice feeling of your beauty shining through, your wardrobe shining through, your likability and charm effect shining through. You might feel like a starlet for a moment. But then we move Venus and she goes, oh, darn, I'm moving into my fall in a money house with a south node. You may need to let go of a way of earning money. You may have an expenditure, an expense, something you need to put money out as. And it's from the past with Mercury retrograde as well, money that you needed to spend before but didn't. Now you have to spend it, for example. So there could be some feeling of a short-term feeling of financial deficit or loss or letting go, a downdraft in the earnings, wallet, pocketbook area of your life. But she's also healing a chironic wound to do with your work being aligned with true purpose, with your original talents and gifts, and that sense of alignment. So there's almost like two things happening here at once. Maybe it's okay that the money is downturning a bit. Maybe there's something better that you should and could be doing. But basically, Venus is also in a broad, sextile to Uranus. And so there still has an element of surprise, and it's going to pick up some steam later in the month. But also know that Venus here is not just about one day or two or three. Venus will be in your financial house in a condition of fall, where she's not very strong, from July 9th to August the 7th, with a South Node co-present until July 27th. It probably indicates July 9th to the 27th, you feel a financial stress point of some kind. The only other thing is your face. Your beautiful face, your nose, your teeth, your mouth, and some disappointment or difficulty, likely on a more medical front, the sign of Virgo. Okay. And you want to make that beautiful. You want to make it fixed, and you're working on fixing it. And you might take away food from your dietary habits and release them because they're no longer what you need. The things you change your food style under this transit. If you need to change your food style, you will change your food style. Mercury would do it for health reasons. So there's a reason to change your food style if needed for your blood work panels or something, and you just dive into letting go of those foods that aren't good for you. And that includes wine and cigarettes and things that you ingest like that, where Mercury sits in the house of addictions. Okay, release, surrender, let go, July 9th to especially July 27th, but it can last through to August 7th with these themes I just outlined for you. When we get past the Venus story and we take care of the next one, what is on our agenda? One thing on our agenda is that the Sun and Mercury will come together in a cazimi. Now, we're moving past that first week, right? We were at July 7th, and now we're in the July 7th to 14th window, Venus changing signs July the 9th. And then we have Mercury in the heart of the Sun cazimi reset button right away on July the 12th. Now, this happens 6 times a year, only 3 times retrograde. This is a reset button to do with things that are connected to your bad habits, addictions, and self-undoing, your alone time, solitude, and contemplation, your bed pleasures, what you want to do, ponder, and think about, as well as money generated from digital income, borderless revenue, far off people, places, international revenue. So now you've got a reset button. Now, this is going to take 6 weeks to give you the lay of the land, starting on July 12th, but likely July 12th, the day before and after, or July 12th, look for that email, phone call, text message, but also look for that dream at night. Mercury will bring that to you that illuminates what you must pay attention to. And it can also be a kind of illumination or insight from a meditation. It doesn't have to be a dream or a trance state or a vision where you get kind of a message from the gods. And it has a lot of impact on how you make money or your money situation in life, as well as your long range goals and plans and dreams for what you want and the gains of your career. So really go inward and allow for that Gazimi to honor that space that you may be in, which is contemplative insight yields great clarity. And that energy is here for you on July 12th. You may feel it beginning on the 11th, and it may trundle into the 13th. On July the 14th, we have a big energetic new moon, 21 degrees of Cancer. It is beautifully placed. Mercury's involved. It is going to bring a moon into a very solitudinous place for you, and it's new, fresh starts. This kind of moon is angular, for example, to your 3rd house, 9th house axis, new beginnings through the desire for learning, studying, educating, or traveling, new beginnings connected to as well your home base, where you live, and the way you handle your taxes or chunky money, trinal to the 4th and 8th. When this new moon is occurring, it also has a restart for your health, especially if you've been enduring with any kind of chronic Saturnian illness to do with bones or knees or ligaments. So you could have a real reset button, but with Mercury retrograde involved, don't forget, Mercury is retrograding here all the way through until July 23rd. And he's in shadow until like August 3rd or something. So, a lot of things are very deeply inward in those much of July into early August. And it's not a time to act on your insights. Let the insights drop and collect them, put them in like a little spot to keep, like, I had an aha, an insight. I know what I want to do. I want to learn, study, teach. I want to do this changes with my home. I want to change my tax structures this way. I want to improve my health this way. This is all fantastic. But I think that the retrogradation means to sort of collect the depth of the retrograde energy. And then when on the 23rd, when Mercury goes forward, you can begin to move forward on those insights. So hold off on making decisions before the 23rd because you'll change your mind again. All right. That new moon as a fresh start. And the retrograde Mercury embedded in it also takes you back to the past, right? So things you've considered changing. This is really a good one. If you guys have been working to corral health difficulties that you caused by your own habits, including food style and including things you put through your nose and mouth, this could be a real turning point, lunation. And it's going to take 6 months to show you the truth of it. But look for the first 1 month after the July 13th moon, the whole month unfolds, to see if there's some changes there in the themes I've just outlined for you. This is a house of expenses. And I don't think that you're going to have a new expenditure because the retrograde Mercury says an old expenditure comes back and haunts you. But the moon's in dignity here, and it's probably not so bad at all. But you have to pay out some money on something that in this chart, it could look like a car problem or money for your home. The new moon shows you that, but it's also a new start and a new beginning, not in expenditures, but in how you save money and make money. Okay, that's a new story. This moon helps you flesh out. All right. Then we're talking about a surprise that Venus delivers on July 13th. This is the end of that second week. She's squaring Uranus for unexpected surprises that may be connected to money, earnings, resources, and career gains and money from your job and career, or perks, rewards, and awards, promotions, and raises, and unexpected changes. Venus is still a good girl, even when she's in detriment and with the South Node. And yet, at the same time, these are difficult placements for her. So good but not great, unexpected raises or promotions or changes in your career structure, a flashpoint around money that surprises you with a sibling one older, with a friend, ally, or benefactor. An unexpected windfall could happen, but then it's karmically destined for you. This is the house of windfalls. Uranus is surprise. Venus is money in a money house. The South Node could mean it's owed to you. It's your destiny. It's from a past life karmic merit. So there's that flashpoint of a windfall. So you might also look at this as a positive surprise around money. And that's on July the 13th, and give or take a day or two on either side. Moving into the third week of the month. The third week of the month is Barbo's basket. First in a lifetime, once in a lifetime. This basket energy is meant to be good for humanity, the beginning of our golden age, the end of the 7 years of, what do you call that stuff? That thing of the 7 years of the tribulation in the Bible or something. And I like it in terms of it's mostly good. This is a basket. You can see it forming around the 14th of the month. It becomes quite visible, 15th, and it's going to dominate the whole of the rest of the month. And energetically, it's anchored by this beautiful triangle. We saw one of these at the end of 25. This is also very, very rare, thousands of years. And so it's good things are happening in business partnerships and marriage agreements. Good things are happening. According to Uranus, there's change. It's exciting, exhilarating, connected to your gains of your career. Well, there's also a dreamy vibe in the ninth house of one's purpose. But then we get Jupiter bucking up into a basket here. And this is going to indicate from the basket tradition that you're going to draw things into the basket like a bushel of apples. And you're going to draw in fourth house, fifth house, and third house things most easily, which indicates good fortune, children and grandchildren, maybe. Things to do with home, property, land, and real estate, and things to do with the online world, marketing, selling, teaching, and learning, falling into the basket here. So look for those things to thrive in the second half of July, but also the basket's anchored by the good guy on your side. Okay, so you got the good guy, Jupiter, holding for Team You, but opposing Pluto and Juno. Where the difficulty is in the basket is it is also anchored by an opposition between two powerful planetary placements. And hey, guys, Jupiter, Team You, is opposite Pluto, who is opposing you with things to do with legal contracts or agreements. Where are you challenged with your marriage partnership agreements and vows if you are in a marriage or long-term committed love relationship? And how might you find ease in that challenge by the basket, tying up all of these loose ends to bring a positive result in a committed love and relationship challenge? For example, the mini trines are multiplied here. Jupiter flows to Uranus, happy, lucky surprises flows to Neptune that you've only dreamed of. But you might have to go through the grit here of oppositional energy. You're feeling this on the 14th. It's pretty exact, the 20th to the 22nd, when Jupiter locks and lows at 4 degrees. So stress and attention create positive outcomes and even luck. And certainly Jupiter sextiling Uranus could bring you an absolutely amazing sense of a lucky break or a windfall around the 20th to the 22nd of the month. And it just feels like ka-ching, right? You feel really good about it. Somehow, some way. And Jupiter rules your house of lottery wins, your house of good fortune. So this is a good one for you guys in July 14th to the 23rd, even to consider a gamble, a bet, bingo hall, casino, lottery ticket. You might win something in that window. All right. So the basket's playing out. Jupiter anchors it around the 20th to the 22nd. Mars will make hard work pay off. Any hard work you do, discipline, perseverance, ambition, forbearance is on July 19th, giving you a payoff or payout. So that's because on the 19th, in the middle of this basket, the Saturn, the disciplined one, and Mars, the hard worker and action taker, are aligned. And, this isn't work house. This is the gains of your career. This is like where you're applying your energy to succeed, to get a next level success professionally with a square from Saturn. I mean, a sextile from Saturn. And Saturn is like, okay, he's in fall. He doesn't like to go slow and patient. But if you're doing anything in your work that connects you to the themes of writing or publishing or legal court case matters, or you could, like, your discipline in a lawsuit pays off and you win. Saturn can be the judge favoring you. Saturn here could be your perseverance and your educational studies lead to a perk. you're working towards a meaningful, purposeful work path leads to a payoff of some kind. And because Mars is telling Saturn to work well with him and is in charge of him, there is a possibility this just feels like, oh, that was easy. I got something to work for me really well in terms of how hard I worked and what I received from the hard work. Because Saturn rules the job and the service that you do. And he wants to reward you. It could be human resources or behind the scenes in the red tape and the workplace, favoring you and the ambition and work that you put into something. Okay. All right. As we move on, which we always do, we move on and on and on and on and on and on and on. All right, let's go ahead and talk about the next story. On the 23rd of July, the sun will square Chiron and begin to activate the basket as well. So your sun energy is your ruler, and the sun in the 12th house, the ruler of you, is not always happy here. You can't really connect with your own planetary ruler. And so, the sun here shines in the dark light, in the darkness of meditation and maybe even sleep. Sometimes it feels like there's just too much light in a place where you want solitude. You want to go to the bedroom, turn off the light and meditate, but the kids keep running in with their flashlights or something. So the sun will cross the sign boundary. You'll feel better as soon as the sun shines in your house. So you get this 0 degree sun, moon, and rising Leo, 0 degree sun moving in on July the 23rd into 22nd, 23rd. And now you get the sun in your sign for a month. This is always a good time of year, third week of July to third week of August, where you really shine brightly and you really feel invigorated and revitalized as your ruler returns home to nest. And as the sun moves here, you see that there's a lot of talking with Chiron, just like Jupiter did on July 1st, 2nd, June 30th to July 2nd. So now you're back at this Chironic wound. Now that the light is shining in you, on you, as you, what are you thinking about that wound in your career and reputation? Maybe your marriage wounds. Chiron squares Pluto in the marriage house. And you're really getting a light on it. Like the sun will give you the information, the knowledge, and the understanding you need, the discernment and intelligence you need, especially coming into Jupiter, to see what your career and relationship choices should be, could be, and including any changes you might want to make eventually in where you live. Any changes you make to your home and where you live won't occur until after August 11th, add 6 weeks after August 11th, but you may be seeing the illumination of what you might want to change about where you live and who you live with. Now, the sun also, let's park the sun for a minute. Let's talk about Mercury and Venus. Good news, good news. Mercury is at 16 degrees on July 24th, stationing direct. So he's very powerful. And as he comes into a sextile to Venus, and you're going to see that on the 26th. Is it 26th? The 24th. Sorry. Day after stationing. He's now direct. And he talks to Venus. Well, we always think of good and news, positive, lucky news, good news. Mercury, Venus. Venus is in a money house. Could be good money news, good news about your face, your teeth, your nose, good news about your addictions and self-undoing and your health in general. And good news about expenditures. Like if you thought, oh my God, I got a bill and it's going to be $9,000 for the fixing of the broken roof. And then you get a new bill, a new estimate. It's only going to be $2,000 after all. Like there can be some like good news on the financial front, including expenditures that came back from the past to be redone. Can include dental work as facial work, cosmetic procedures, and hospitals and medical and redos or home-based construction or something like that. Now you're saying to yourself, okay, it's not as bad as I thought. Good money news here. Good health news. It's not as bad as I thought. All right. So now the sun takes up the Barbeau basket, this transformational basket, this once in a life, first time in a life. And the sun is now anchoring just what Jupiter did. So this is why this basket kind of goes on from July 14th to the 22nd, courtesy of Jupiter. And then the sun takes over July the 23rd to the end of the month and really reinforces the basket. With the sun being your ruler and participating with the basket with Jupiter, holy man, this is so important for you. This basket is opening up incredible opportunities, especially writing, teaching, communicating, traveling, home-based prosperity and success. and also matters connected to your children, fertility, pregnancy, and maybe grandchildren. So this whole thing is lovely for you. The sun is going to really shine a light with Jupiter's knowledge and wisdom on how you want to approach long-term committed love and business relationships, as well, perhaps, as career matters and decisions you're making here. And next, Jupiter and Venus. Okay. So Jupiter and Venus are doing some big stories. Venus is going to square Mars for sexy romantic love or something else. Probably not love, because second house is your money, your speech, your earnings. But this square between these two buggers is positive. You're going to feel it like really the last 4 days of the month. And it couldn't lead you in the last 4 days of July to want to spend some money on something that you're passionate or excited by, connected to your career. So buying your fancy computer or your better ring light or something like that, possessions for your career and excitement around those possessions. Well, just make sure you do a bargain for the best price. Venus is not a bargainer in Virgo. She does not, well, maybe she can be frugal there. Maybe she can. It's a sign of the Virgin. Who knows? All right. Maybe you could start a romantic love affair with a friends with benefits approach. If you want, that could happen here too. It might surprise you, but it could work. You might propose it. Let's be friends with benefits. The last 4 or 5 days of July. All right. Then Jupiter and the Sun unite in a conjunction and the nodes change signs. And Saturn turns retrograde. So this is all happening at the last few days of the month. I'm not going to cover this in detail. He turned retrograde on the 26th. That's coming up for a special dedicated video. But more importantly than that is that Jupiter and Sun co-join together and the nodes shift signs. You've been living with the South Node in your second house of money, and it kind of meant money was hard or difficult, or you lost money, you spent more money, you had a lot of money going down the drain in your estimation, covering finances when it felt difficult, and you were asked to task yourself to other kinds of money. And that story's behind you now. It started in 2011, January. But as we go into the 27th, the nodes have changed in the sky, and you're beginning to notice that you are changing as well. This is an 18-month journey with a nodal change. I'll cover that in detail on my channel. I'm not going to cover that here. Too important. But you will feel a shift beginning at the end of July into August, where you feel more deep, spiritual, soulful energy, and you're surrendering what you don't need in life to let go, let God, while you expand into the marriage house to make changes in long-term committed love or to meet a long-term partner for life. So that's a new story for Leos. And the Sun will conjunct Jupiter. So a synodic reset button on July 29th, the last 12 months. This is the beginning of the new you. You're starting a new Sun, Leo Sun career, Leo moon, home life, and maybe where you live, Leo rising, your whole character in the simulation, once every 12 years gets this lucky reboot. It's very fortunate. It's very powerful. It's going to be really, really, really good for you. You can get lots more chunky money, including spousal support, in-law money, inheritance money. You can really up level, in your creativity, your entrepreneurship, your children, your fertility could bring grandchildren to you. And it's going to be the 12-month story, not a day in the life of. But you might feel very lucky on the day of the conjunction. And lucky things may happen on July 29th, including winning in a court case or positive developments around long distance travel or legal matters. Okay. And finally, the last thing to talk about is the full moon at 6 degrees of Aquarius. The moon is taking cue from an eclipse, which makes it even more powerful, Leo. In a sign of Aquarius, it's your marriage house. Go back to February 28th last year and talk about your marriage and money. The node was here. Shared resources with a business partner, shared resources with a romantic partner, financial considerations that were up for you probably as early as late January, epicenter February 28th, unfolding 3 months after. So that solar eclipse should have given you clues to what was germinating in a destined way. And it does impact your audience, marketplace, your significant long-term committed love and business relationships. And that reset button now has a spotlight on it. Jupiter's watching too, so you're protected. There's a big, bright spotlight on your someone other, okay? It could be a sibling 3 older or 3 younger, but then it could also be a marriage partner or a business partner or a particular audience, marketplace, client approach. Spotlight, eclipses, fated change. Do you know what this is? With Juno, the marriage goddess here, Jupiter is legal. He's also wise. Some of you might be getting ready to break away from an existing relationship. It can be long-term. Like, it doesn't be like, oh, here comes the bride. You might have been living together for 4 years, but you're cohabi or you're common law. And those Leos out there, you're looking across the way going, wisdom and truth, anybody? Let go, surrender, who and what? And you got an inkling of this in February. You probably already got a sense of this. You kind of knew. Saturn rules that moon, and he's in detriment in the 9th house. It's the house of heaven. Maybe a spouse is going to heaven. Now, I know that want to rattle you if you're in your 30s. Let's be serious. For older people, is there a spouse that could considerably have a challenge to their health? That's the thought I just had. We shall see. But you may be having a gloriously wise way with knowledge, truth, and wisdom and luck benefiting you of getting through a difficult turning point, flashlight in a house of a significant relationship. And with Pluto here, death and rebirth, transformation, but Juno, commitment, divorce, and marriage, huge energies for all Leos in that flashpoint that started in last February and continues to illuminate your sky as a what are you going to do about it moment here on July 29th. No, it's not the best thing for a new relationship. Do not start something new under the sky. 100 ways to Sunday, I can tell you, stay clear. Okay. This is not for starting something new, but this could be for completing something old. All right. So that's for your story. Don't forget, when you like and subscribe, hit the notification bell. I go ahead and drink a martini. Every time you hit the notification bell, I have a martini. No. But just do. It helps the channel grow. The second thing I want you to remember or to be aware of is that my Sky Reader starting. Come join in. My Patreon community gets every video here on YouTube early access ad-free. Do you want that? Why not? My members only gets extended content here every Monday that nobody else gets. That same extended content goes over to Patreon. Patreon is like $10 a month at the lowest tier. Includes a monthly Q&A with me live on Zoom. But I think it's only $3 US to be a member on YouTube. So you can always migrate up to Patreon if you want more contact with me and then quit and come back here. It's up to you. See you guys soon. I'm going to be doing a little bit more live streams as a perk for my members only here. I just haven't had time with my classes to get that set up and get this computer to do it in a way that it works for me. But stay tuned for that as well. See you guys soon. Have a wonderful month of July. And come join me in Sky Reader. See the description box for information.
Lunatic astrology.